Hey everyone, Stephanie here from Patch and Dot. I just wanted to do a quick walkthrough for you today of how I like to use PreQuilt to mock up new versions of Sugarcubes using different palettes. So I am logged into PreQuilt. As you can see, you can also see I've got quite a few Sugarcubes mockups here. I've probably made dozens over the years, and I've done quite a few more since starting to play around with the Kona Color Society palettes. So let's get into it. First thing I want to show you actually is on the fabric pull tab. I've created my own mini palettes of each of the first two drops of the Kona Color Society bundles. So I've got Nocturne here and Mariposa here. This is really easy to do. It just takes a few minutes. Essentially, you just create a new fabric pull, then you go to your Kona colors. I like to do sort by name, and then one by one just pick out each of the colors in the palette, and you can see they're all nicely collected over here. So I'm just going to close this for now. Those are the two palettes that I'll be using in the little demo today. Yeah, so that's the pulls. To create your own new mockup, first thing you're going to do is go over to the color pages. Where if you haven't seen this before, there's color pages for all kinds of designers. Just start typing patch into the search bar, and that will take you to my little home base. And then I'm going to select the Sugarcubes small throw because that's what I'm going to make for the quilt along. And so you can see, sorry, just sharing a new tab here. So hopefully now you can see the Sugarcube small throw with the colors that are used on the print pattern covers. So all you need to do to start changing this up is select your first color. I'm going to start with this blue block here and click edit. And under your colors, scroll down to if you've done the same thing as me and created a palette, just scroll down until you see it. I'm going to start with Nocturne. I'm going to use both palettes in this mock-up, so I'll probably be switching back and forth quite a bit. Actually, I want to select Mariposa first because the first color on my list is terracotta. So I want to create a combo there we go. Oh, marmalade. I forgot about marmalade. Okay, I have terracotta on my list, but this is the great thing about using PreQuilt or doing a digital mockup is it's very low commitment. I'd written down terracotta, but I actually think marmalade is what I want. I want to create a version that's a lot of like the pinks and the blues from the two palettes. So I'm going to start with marmalade. I'm going to pick that as my first substitute color. So basically you're just going through one by one, picking colors in the existing palette and substituting them with ones in the new palette. For Sugarcubes, obviously the world is your oyster. You can arrange your colors however you like. In the pattern as written, it has these corner sections being darker colors, like a dark weight or dark volume. And then the middle diagonal band, which in this one looks like, just looking at the top left one here, is the bright yellow. It has those in a medium tone or volume, and then a light volume for the background that applies to all of the things. So I'm going to stick to that for this mock-up. So I kind of always tend to start with my dark color for a given block and then find a corresponding lighter color, like a lighter version of that same color. So I'm going to select this what was a periwinkle color, and I'm going to make that a salmon. And then I'm going to just move on to the next block, which is the curry for the dark color. Now I'm going to switch back to the Nocturne palette because I want Windsor, which is this really nice deep dark blue. Then I want to pick a lighter blue to go along with it. So I'm going to change this citrus to Delft, which is this one. Okay, looking good. So I'm going to keep going. For this third block, I'm going to go back to my pinks and select Rose. And then for the corresponding color, go back to the Mariposa palette and use Bellini. Okay, so that's 3 blocks already done. You can see that didn't take very long at all. So the super bright pink one, I'm going to change this one to another blue, and I'm going to use teal blue and dusty blue. So going back to Nocturne, bundle, teal blue, and then changing this primrose pink to dusty blue. Nice. Then the fourth block, I'm going to switch it up a little. So mostly pinks and blues in here, but I really like the kind of like creamy gray neutrals that are in both of these bundles. So I'm going to do one that's biscuit and khaki, which I believe. So again, here's a chance for me to switch it up. I had written down biscuit and khaki, but now I'm looking at the Nocturne palette, and I really like the kind of coolness of these colors here. So I think I'm going to start with latte to see what that looks like. Then I'm going to go back to Mariposa palette and see how putty or khaki would look with those. I'm going to put khaki as the lighter color. Okay, and then finally, one block left. Time for another blue. So I'm going to change what was Kona Pickle to a palette from the bundle, and I'm going to use indigo, the darkest blue in the bunch, and then instead of this yellow color, let's try Dresden blue and see how that looks. And there we go. So this mock-up actually came pretty balanced out of the box. Typically, I would move the blocks around a little bit to make sure that the darks and lights are not too heavily concentrated in any one area, because when that happens, you tend to get a bit of a chunky look instead of having more of a feeling of overall movement. But I think this looks pretty good. I'm going to leave it as is. Hopefully this gives you a good idea of how easy and fun it is to get your bundle colors into PreQuilt and play around with them a little more with very low risk. All right, thanks everyone.